Welcome back to the MartiniWorks Podcast. We're so happy you're here. We keep getting awesome stories about people that will just turn this thing on Friday morning in the shop, let all the boys and gals just listen to the whole thing. So if y'all are turning this on, we appreciate you for tuning in, listening in. We're going to be talking about a couple different things today. Talking a little bit about what do normal non-car enthusiasts think about cars in terms of what looks good but isn't good, what isn't good but is good, and kind of get like, what are the masses thinking? And then I think we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about our cars. We got new project coming up that we'll be filming this week, tomorrow morning with the GTT, which is going to be wild. Maybe we'll finish it up with some breaking news.
Absolutely.
Sounds good to me.
Are you okay?
In what way?
Well, you didn't cut me off in the intro.
I restrained myself multiple times.
This episode only, though, because typically you don't.
I was letting you have the intro there uninterrupted.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
All right, if you
Takes
guys
a lot
are
of self-control.
if you guys are looking for car parts,
A lot of self-control.
mod your car at Martini.
Like a lot.
Mod your car at MartiniWorks.com. We're so happy that you guys and gals are continuing to pick up your car parts from us. So thank you. Wheels, tires, wheel and tire packages, performance parts, all of it.
You know what? It's been a minute since
What?
you said thank you to some people.
My God, there's a list. I'll tell you what, we're going to jump into this, and then between now and our next segment, I will get the list
All right,
together.
fair enough.
I
There's
promise.
some thank yous that are due.
Yeah.
There's a lot of graciases due for that. But no, I came across this TikTok, and Kenna says, I want a cheap but expensive looking car. What cars are people driving nowadays? Any recommendations? We're going to go through the list, and you guys give me your thoughts.
Okay. I kind of hate that question to begin
Yeah.
with, but
Why?
it's just yucky.
Weird. Yeah, it's weird.
What part of it's yucky?
I just want to look expensive.
Yeah, I want it to look expensive, but it's a cheap piece of shit. No.
All right, let's hear it.
That
It
hear
says
it.
Kia written all over it.
So I will have you know that the 2025 Kia K5 GT line is in here.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Adds up.
Top comment,
Okay.
Mazda CX-5.
Yeah.
I mean, they look nice. I wouldn't say they
would-
look like expensive.
No, I feel like it looks like normal traffic, but Mazda's been doing,
They're great cars.
an okay job at making regular traffic, I would say.
Could you rate it out of 10?
As to look expensive, but is not.
Yeah.
Let me make sure. This is the SUV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
okay.
their CX line is.
Yeah, my buddy had one. So
Because they have like the CX3, CX5 is like the mid, and then they have like the
CX-7.
7, 9, like they get big.
That's a big
The
jump.
5 is like pretty small yet.
yeah, it's about as basic can get. Like once you get on the inside, from an exterior standpoint, yeah, it looks like a solid SUV.
I need you to take that
Expensive
entire...
wise, I would say 3 out of 10.
I was going to say, I need you to take that entire paragraph and turn it into a number.
5 out of 10.
Interesting.
What would you give it?
I'd probably give it a 7.
Really? You
It's
think?
got
7
that-
is like I would own this.
Okay.
I probably would own a CX-5
Yeah, you
as like a
would. Nice.
daily.
You would.
Yeah, but like it's a Maserati-looking Mazda. That's why everybody likes them. They look like an old Maserati.
I think it looks like a Mazda SUV.
All right, next up, second top comment.
Maserati.
This is also pretty affordable.
Okay.
Pagani Huayra.
Oh yeah, that's 10 out of 10.
Yeah, that one's about as like
Looks-
for looks.
Yeah.
And if you have $1 billion, it's honestly not that bad in price.
Okay, so the second comment was a Pagani Huayra. The first one was a CX-5. The third one,
TikTok.
CX-5. Fourth one, CX-5.
Okay, now they're just copying each other.
Yeah, 6, Toyotas. Because you don't know if they're rich or broke.
Yeah. Yeah. What was it? Like Jeff Bezos or something for the longest time, like drove a Camry or Corolla or something like that. And they're like, why? Like, you're like one of the richest people ever. And he was like, it works. I don't know.
Jeff, no, it was Mark Zuckerberg had one of the best stories where he had a brand new Mercedes-Benz and he never titled it because in California you had like up to 6 months or something where you didn't have to actually title and register a vehicle. And so he ran around with brand new S-Class Mercedes and then he would just trade them in every 6 months so he could
Isn't
avoid
that-
paying
He should
title
be
and
banned from
registration.
Facebook.
Isn't that like title jumping?
No, because you have a grace period. So
Yeah,
he's
but
just,
that's still.
No, because he's not jumping it.
I
He's
suppose
just-
he doesn't have a lot of money to register his vehicle, so I understand
Imagine-
why he would do
Yeah,
that.
he's trying to save as many pennies as
I
he
get
could.
it. I get it. You know, money's tight.
This
Yeah,
luck.
it's wild that you can get like a one owner or a zero owner car brand new with 30,000 miles on it. That's fucking crazy.
Lots of CX-5s. A 1994 Toyota Celica.
No.
That doesn't look expensive at all.
Okay, next one. I need you guys to rate this out of 10. Give me points, otherwise we can't make shorts. All right, that's what this is all. I'm just kidding. That's not what it's all about.
Clip farming.
Clip farming.
Alex Clip Farms.
Hyundai Sonata.
2.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I like the Elantra more. 2 is fair, I think. Well, I gave the fucking Mazda. I don't know. It's just tough to. We're picking regular traffic to rate.
Yeah, but
That's
does
hard.
it look expensive?
No.
All right, next up. Kia Sportage X-Line.
I don't know what that is.
Fuck is that? 1.
Toyota RAV4.
Honestly,
That's
the newer ones.
That's not cheap.
I'd say
that's not cheap.
5, 6.
Okay.
A RAV4? That shit's not cheap.
I know they're not cheap, but
I would give that shit a RAV4, especially a newer one, like a 9. But not on a cheap scale.
We're finally getting to normal cars that I think we can all agree on.
of course, buried in the comments.
Yeah, 2018 Honda Accord with the touring trim, says Jack.
Yeah, that's a good car.
Is that the weird? No, that's the
That's a 10, Jen.
Civics had the Cross Tour, which was like the really weird, like hatchback, thick ass back end version. Those things are weird looking.
Every once in a while, Honda just does some really weird stuff
Yeah.
with the back half
The
of their
Cross
cars, and
Tour
I
is one of
don't
them.
really understand it. All right. No. How about any used Volvo ever?
No,
All right.
I wouldn't say that they look expensive, other than the badge, maybe because people don't know what it is. Like, oh, that's different. I don't know what that is. That
That's
must be expensive.
Imported.
Okay. 2020 Volkswagen Jetta SEL.
Again, I don't think it looks expensive.
Okay. Buick and Vista 2024.
What the hell is that?
I don't know.
I'm not sure. I can't talk on that one.
Finally, the real answer.
Yep,
Aston Martin V12.
there it is.
All right, what do you guys think is a cheap car that looks expensive from a car enthusiast perspective now?
Now we gotta walk.
I would say
we
a
gotta,
Pontiac
we gotta walk
Fiero.
the walk. The Fiero, yeah,
Toyota MR2 with SW20.
Oh,
3,000 GTs.
I don't know if this is a thing anymore, but I remember when the Hyundai Genesis came out. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Every old person thought that was a fucking supercar. They thought it was made by Ferrari or Lamborghini. My buddy got one at the time. And every time we went to the gas station, what the hell is that? Holy. Anytime we went through a drive through, it was just nonstop. So I'd say somehow, some way, the Hyundai Genesis.
Like the coupe.
Kinda, yeah.
E63 AMG.
Yeah, those
Yeah.
are pretty cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say like the MR2s.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Kind of same
another-
thing as like the Fiero. Like it's got that like boxy, like
The ultimate way
car.
to do it?
I got a weird
Build
one
a
for you.
kit car.
I got a weird one for
yeah.
you.
What you got?
Okay.
It might take some convincing from both of you. A clean, low mileage, first gen Audi TT Quattro. To this day,
yeah.
people still look at that car and don't understand where it's from.
Yeah.
It's just this complete out of pocket Audi car, and
Bubble.
everyone, like everybody that sees a clean version of it, loves it. I think the Audi TT and the Audi R8 are like two of my oddly like most favorite designed cars of all time. Even though the TT's kind of ugly, it still has its place.
I like the TT, and then I love the newer TTRS.
Oh.
They're like mini R8s.
It is a mini R8.
I want
100%.
one.
I would say honestly, like I know it's not like super like affordable or anything, but like for the cost and like what you can get, I think like what is it like the Alfa Romeo like 4Cs?
Oh,
I
yeah.
just don't know anything about
Yeah,
those
but
cars, if they're reliable or.
Yeah, but I mean like from like a looks perspective, it's like oh that's a
Yeah, it does look-
sports car, and it's like I think you can get them for relatively
The Alfa Romeos used to have a really bad reliability thing when they came out, like the Quadrifoglio or the 4C. And I see more people owning them now, and I think they've just gotten used to it. But maybe it wasn't as bad. As
Okay, let me flip the script. What is an expensive car that looks cheap?
any Mercedes-Benz SUV.
Yeah.
I think
I
they
agree
all
with
look
that.
silly
Yeah.
dumb.
Yeah.
Like
That's actually a pretty good call.
like the metal that's not metal. It just looks like plastic from the outside, and then the interior. Like I love the LED interior, and then they decided to put it everywhere, so now it just looks really cheap. Somehow Kia did interior lighting better than Mercedes, and I don't understand it.
Trying to think. So that looks cheap but is expensive.
yeah, you got to find like a really basic car. I'm trying to
Yeah,
think.
I'm trying to think,
Mercedes
too.
is a good one
Yeah.
because they make all their cars for the most part pretty basic and
Yeah.
similar looking.
I'm trying to think if there's anything on like the European side.
I'd hate to say it, but like the FL5, a little expensive, and it's still a Civic.
Civic Si. I would say the new Civic
the
Si.
Civic Si. Yes. Yeah.
Expensive.
Looks cheap.
There's a
Looks
really,
super cheap. It looks like the base model.
yeah, for as much as you're paying for like the SI trim and the new Civic Si, you're really not getting. I remember when the specs came out, we both kind of looked at each other like, what the fuck?
Hell is this?
Hopeless.
Every time I see one of the newer Civics driving down the road, I try to see if it's an SI. I can never tell.
Oh.
I have to like look at it.
Jeeps. Dude, Jeeps will perpetually be like 40 grand, 40,
Why?
50 grand, and I don't fucking understand why.
I don't either.
They are the biggest
I-
pieces of shit.
There's something weird about Jeep owners though, where
Hey.
listen, champ, okay, I will go and we'll be talking about cars, we'll be talking about we'll just be like in a casual setting and somebody will be like, oh, I love mine. And I'm like, what do you mean?
That's
He's
my
like,
wife.
they're like, well, I got a Jeep and I love it. And you look at them and you wait because there's a pause. There's
why?
a pause to understand, are we being sarcastic?
How
Or
long
are
in
you
the
being honest?
conversation do you have to wait before they start talking about how the doors can come off? It's usually not too long.
No, because there's two people in this
17
conversation.
Yeah.
There's the people that love having the doors off the Jeep, and then there's the other people that are dating those people that have to actually take the doors and roof off for the person that loves the Jeep.
That's me.
Very rarely are they the same person.
Usually it takes two people.
Yeah, it does.
And a garage
Or you have to install the biggest fucking
pulley
contraption
system. Yeah,
pulley
and a garage
system
tool.
from the 1910s that you've ever seen in your life to pull a fucking fiberglass hatch off.
See, I was making a joke about a Jeep one time when we went to go visit AccuAir, and I was around the presence of somebody who really loved Jeeps.
God.
And we were driving, and I'm like, this thing is kind of crazy how much it's wobbling. And he's like, oh, well, it's for the clearance on the other side. I'm like, huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm like, is the electric seats not being a thing in this also because of something important? He's like, well, yeah, I mean, what if you got water on the inside? You don't want any Jeep made it very clear that there was going to be no electronics, up to a certain, in case you had to go in the water.
Which
I'm like,
is-
when was the last time this $80,000
Yeah, that's what I
Jeep
was gonna say.
has been near water?
That's
let
all
alone in
great,
it?
but make the fucking thing 20 grand and I'll never bitch about it
we
again.
purposely left out a ton of features so you can off-road this thing. That'll be 80 grand.
Unreliably. It's
Unreliable.
gonna break. We swear.
That's
I
why we
swear.
love the Bronco, man. The Bronco is so cool.
I like the Bronco. I like the newer Bronco. I think that so far it's good. I also love FJs. I think FJs is super underrated. I don't know why we're on SUV topic.
I still want what would they call it? Like a Land Cruiser?
With the older ones?
Yeah, like that 80,
Yeah,
80
those are
series Land Cruiser, dude. That would be tight.
I haven't heard a lot of good things about Land Cruisers.
Well, you buy them because they just are. You don't buy them because they're good.
Kind of like Jeeps.
Kind of like old Porsches.
You kind of sound like a Jeep guy.
Yeah. You just blindly buy it.
All right, if you guys had to get rid of your primary fun car right now and get something for under 30K,
They're all broken.
what would you get?
Probably under 30.
Yeah.
Probably like a super clean like S14.
Oh. Okay. Damn.
This has to be one car.
Yes.
But you're getting rid of your fun car.
Yeah, and it's
So
replacing
like what would your fun car, was it the Ferrari right now?
Well, let's say we got rid of the Ferrari.
Okay, so if you got rid of the Ferrari, you had to get something under 30K, what would you get?
Z06.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose
Track weapon.
Viper's out of that territory.
Yeah,
How much
that's
is a Viper? 40, 50 used?
Second gen, yeah, non-GTS, probably like $40,000 right now.
Almost had it.
Almost.
Yeah.
So close. Big domestic.
Brother, I'm trying to love tuner and Euro cars. I really am. I'm trying to find the value, but
Alex got spanked by some Corvettes on the track, and now he just can't.
not even that. Dude, all these tuner cars are so goddamn expensive.
I know,
We were
I know.
talking just the other day. You said $30,000 was like we were talking about Type R's.
Yes, yeah.
We're talking about Type R's. We were driving to go pick up a car at my house, and you had mentioned that they were like low 30s.
Like 30, 35. Yeah.
Yeah, low 30, 35. And that got me thinking for a second where I was like, what would I spend 30 to 35 on a used tuner car? I'm like, that's like fucking S2000 prices. That's like
Dude, S2000
decent,
prices went up
clean-
so
That's
fucking
like
high,
decent,
though.
clean 90s, early 2000s cars. I'm like, or you can get an FK8 Type R for the same exact price. And it just completely rocked my world in terms of because I was looking at JZX 100s because an okay JZX 100 is like $30,000 right now, and I'm like, God, that's a 25-year-old tuner car.
Yeah,
for 30 Gs, or you can get a Type R
crazy.
for 30 Gs.
Yeah, it gets into that point where you start looking at that. It's like, obviously, we still love those cars. Like, they're still awesome cars. But when it comes down to it, and when the money is on the line and you're ready to spend that $30,000, it does sometimes get a little difficult to look at something like a JZX 100 or like an S2000 and be like, I can get a lot more for the same amount of cash. That's probably going to be better for me in the long run. If, of course, you don't want to have to worry about like working on it or dealing with weird quirks and things.
Which I don't. I'm not a mechanic.
Right. That's where it comes down to you personally. It's like, no, I don't care. I just really love that car. I want it. By all means, go for it.
What would yours be?
Same answer it always is.
Harlequin?
Golf Harlequin. But if I had to pick something different, so I just don't say the same thing all the time, an S2000 would be up that alley. I do love those cars. It's one of my favorite driving cars. I would want a bone stock one. 100% bone stock, left alone, owned by an old guy. S2000.
I think you could do that.
And you can find them.
Yeah. Oh, they're out there. The problem is they hang on to those.
Yeah, they
fuckers.
do.
They don't get rid of them. But I always see old people driving S2000s.
Do you think it's because they're like, I wanted to be Miata, but I wanted to be different.
I don't know how.
But I wanted to be different.
I honestly think it came from
convertible, dude.
Yeah, they love
no, dude,
convertibles.
I literally think it came from when Honda came out with the S2000. They were one of the only companies that had introduced a convertible that didn't look like ass.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Honestly,
We
'cause,
do
like,
always say that.
350Z convertibles, horrendous.
gross. And look at the same time, the Audi TT I think came out in a convertible.
That's
with them.
disgusting.
You had
what?
the port. Listen to this. So if you look back at the early 2000s for convertible cars, all of them are by and large the ugliest cars to ever be made by a car manufacturer. Even you look at like the old Porsche Boxers, and you're
Oh
like,
yeah, dude.
what?
Yeah, they're
What the?
I
F-
think that's why I hate them so much, because our era of growing up with convertibles, they're
terrible.
fucking bad. Except the S2000.
The
and
S2000
Miata.
is the only good. Well, even the Miata, I think.
what was that? Would have been like the NB Miata at the time.
Dude, they look terrible with the top down or the top up. I think Miatas, people love them so much, but they're always a top down kind of car or a hard top. In which case, you're getting rid of.
I like hard tops. Even S2Ks I love with the hard tops, but it's the one car I give the pass to put the top down, because the S2000 with the top down still looks fucking good.
There's parts of me when we take the hard top off the S2000 when we did drive it, and you just have because we don't have a convertible on it anymore. Dude, it's a whole vibe.
Yeah. I feel like that thing would look so goofy with the wing and the top down, top off.
It looks kind of rad because
Does it?
from
Okay.
the back you're
I can't
looking at
picture it. Yeah.
You're looking at it, you're like, why is it got so many bars and things going on in the
The
back
fucking
there?
jungle gym in there.
No,
What the hell's going on?
it's a crazy world to buy a car
Right
these
now, yeah,
days.
it's nuts. It's all over the place because, like you said, it's like the prices of those older Japanese cars are so fucking high right now, and it's like the ones that we like grew up loving so much, and it's like we want to hold on to that because we still love them, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, I really liked them more when they were like 15 and like 10.
That's why it's like I don't feel like enough people are talking about the S15s coming into the market.
How am I? Okay,
Because I want one.
here's the thing.
Yeah, I will.
Here's the thing. I want one too. But why the fuck has every S15 that I've seen come in and go up for sale call for price? No one lists what are these things going for?
I don't know. They're obviously going for a lot.
It tells me that they're going for like 40, 50 grand.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to put the price on the listing because they know that they're just going to get absolutely fucking roasted.
Are S15s like rare? Like
No.
were there?
No.
Nothing. No. Okay. Nissan and the people around the collector like car community have created this artificial inflation on some of these cars. It's absolutely ridiculous because some of these cars were absolutely mass produced. They were made in plenty of numbers. S14s, S13s, obviously iconic cars, JZX90s, JZX100s. They were all made a lot. The only like case exception is the super duper limited ultra rare edition of an R34 GTR NER Spec 2 blah,
Yeah,
blah,
yeah.
garbage, blah, blah, blah.
Well, not garbage.
Not garbage. Very cool.
Careful.
But I think the inflation of the trims is out of control on JDM cars.
Yeah, it's just so wild because I've just noticed that because I see, like an importer will like get one in and they like post it up and it's like, oh man, that looks really like nice. I wonder how much it's like call for price.
Yeah.
And it's like, really?
Because I'm trying to think if there's any other car that's like that right now.
Do you think it's because like they're like in the first year or so of them being able to be brought over, that obviously you don't have, like, they're in a sense kind of rare because like you only have like 1 year to import them from.
It could be.
Like maybe as like the years go on, like it'll start to go down, or you think because like I thought that with like the GTRs and stuff, like as like the 33s came available, the 34s, that the 32s would come down in price, but they've all just continued to go up.
I think that's you bring up a really good point. And actually there's a lot of comments on our post where some people outside of MartiniWorks are like, why would you ever spend $40,000 on an R34 GTT? Like I remember when in New Zealand those were $15,000.
You had them forever.
And it's like, well, because you've had them, we haven't.
Yeah,
and there is a price.
Bring them across the ocean.
Yeah, there is a price I think that's associated to like the importing of it all.
100%.
But man, the S15s I think are such a good looking car.
They look so fucking good. Like you see one in person, you stop in your tracks every time.
It's peak Nissan in my opinion.
I just want to know how much they cost.
And there's
Someone tell me.
Call them.
No, because I don't just get it. I don't like calling people.
Well, can't have it all.
It's a good time. I do kind of want to get my hands on maybe some different cars and try them out. Maybe expand my horizon. I do.
That'd be fun.
I'll say it. Say it here for the potty.
Oh
first.
shit! Here we go.
I really want to drive like a new Hyundai N-Line car and see how it is on track. Like I want to drive it. Like I really want to.
Hyundai's really pushing them on the track, so.
I want to see what they're like because I
would like to also see that.
There's a lot of people that talk about how incredible they are, but it seems like the enthusiast base is very like young and new and kind of like the Tesla community where it's like nobody really knows too much just yet, but the folks that are getting out there and really getting on them are loving them.
Hyundai's still crawling out of that hole that they made so long ago.
Yeah.
And trying to get that name to have more oomph behind it. You know what I'm saying? I think in everyone's minds, it's just Hyundai still is kind of like a cheaper car, and it's hard to look at it from an enthusiast performance perspective, but it doesn't necessarily mean they're bad by any means. It's just that brand image that they had when they came out. You know, Hyundai's been around for a long time. It almost seems like Hyundai's like a car manufacturer that's been around since the 2000s, but it's been around forever.
Yeah, it's your grandparents probably actually know Hyundai.
100%. And it just had really, really rough beginnings. And I think through that, it's just hard to crawl out of that hole and make that perfect brand image.
Yeah.
So.
If you guys are wondering what the biggest news between Hyundai and Kia is right now, it's actually the reliability conversation about the brand has a lot less to do with the actual like engine reliability, and it has a lot more to do with how the car is being perceived publicly, which is they're super easy to steal. And they've been thrashed around and thrown around and put into junkyards 9 times out of 10. And that's a lot of the stigma that Hyundai's Kia is fighting right now. Is like, these cars are stolen all the time. Yeah. Like, they finally found a fix for some of their stuff. But it's like, I think it was Hyundai or Kia, like, introduced immobilizers like 9 years ago on their entire lineup. It's like, dude, cars have had immobilizers for decades now. But they did it to cut costs and cut corners and things like that. So it'll be cool to see. I do want to get my hands on one because a lot of there's a lot of folks on the internet that are like, you need to give it another chance.
You need to try it.
You need to try it again. So we're going to take a small break, but not before talking about our wonderful partner for the MartiniWorks podcast, Continental Tire, which we're very, very excited to continue to talk about. As we get into the fall, it's been an absolute blast to spend a lot of time on their summer tires, on their DWS 06 Plus and their Extreme Contact Sport 02. We're unfortunately now getting to the point in our career where we have to talk about that stuff that comes down from the sky and it's not
snow
dandruff.
coming next week.
And that means that we're going to be taking a look at the Viking Contact 7.
Hell yeah, we are.
Which we're really, really excited for. But if you guys are looking for tires, Continental's a no-brainer. They have a fantastic warranty. They have a huge product line. They're constantly in stock. Their staff and service is incredible. Plus, we run them on a lot of our cars, both on the street and on the track, which means they're tried, tested, and true. Which means you're pretty much guaranteed to be in great hands. And we love Continental. It's a super easy plug for us because we believe in the product, we believe in the brand, which means we feel really confident talking to you about it. So if you need help picking a set of Continentals out, you can head over to MartiniWorks.com, use that chat. In the bottom right-hand corner, you're going to be talking to probably Carissa, and she can help you out find the right tires for your wheels, and we will mount and balance them for free for you.
Nice.
See you in a second. Guys, I have a confession. For once, I don't know the answer to something.
Okay.
Really?
Should I like NASCAR?
No.
I don't know.
I don't think you should. I think you can.
Yeah.
But I think it's a sport for people that
Careful.
like loud noise.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
Listen, I respect the drivers. What they do is crazy, and I cannot do it, and most of us can't. That takes a special breed of person to be able to do what they do, but it's not an entertaining sport to watch from my eyes.
Yeah.
Until like the last couple laps.
Yeah.
I mean, that's exciting. Maybe the start and the finish. I'm like, it is what it is. Like, I like golfing, but I don't like watching golf.
Yeah.
I don't watch golf. I suck at golf, but I'm not going to watch it.
Sounds like you watch golf.
No. Not
Sounds
even like highlight clips.
Sounds like he's 2 friends away from watching the PGA on a weekend. If they were like, "Hey, you want to watch some golf?"
And I think NASCAR's like that. It's like the golf of racing. Like, it's like, yeah, you can be really good at it, but it's not fun to watch you be good at it.
Yeah.
I asked because I was curious about this, and I learned that the most watched race was the Daytona back in, I think, 2006 or 2005 or something. It had 30-some million people that watched it. Meanwhile, the latest F1 GP had like 4. And I'm like, NASCAR was obviously very, very large. It was at its heyday in the early 2000s. Obviously, COVID definitely curbed it, and it continues to go downhill. And then I saw on the last corner of a race here just this past couple bits ago, 2 days ago, there was like literally right at the last corner, one of the guys knocked into the lead for the win, just kind of knocked him out of place.
Spun him out.
Spun him.
And immediately, like, dude goes into the wall, hits the wall, crashes. He goes over the finish line, stops, immediately just starts doing burnout, celebrating. His whole team's jumping around. They're excited. They won.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like,
That's gross.
Yeah, Denny and Joey apparently both crashed. Look at this last lap.
is that how
He
this
goes
works
the brakes
now?
around the corner, and then the other guy tries to hit him. He goes off too, and then he won.
That's
Last corner.
gross.
And he just immediately celebrates. It's not like anyone checking on anyone. It's like,
No.
Yeah.
It's like,
I don't like that.
You know what it kind of
No,
reminds me
you
of?
shouldn't like NASCAR because that sucked.
I mean, they're like one lap away from just doing what I did when I played NASCAR video games and turning the car around and just going the opposite direction.
For real.
Like, there's so much to the sport that I feel like is just not documented well. And I feel like NASCAR is constantly hoping that everybody just knows how it works. If you want to be confused, like I was, go just look up NASCAR Circuit Series. All the different names for things, and then all the classifications of what cars run in what. It's a very confusing thing, and all of it has a different sponsor name, and all of it has a different purpose and different tracks that they run at. I saw NASCAR run on a street circuit in Chicago, I think it was last year, and I was like, they're on the right path with this. This is kind of neat. You know, street circuit, you get some more engagement. The car's not just turning in one direction.
Right.
But then the cars just aren't built for it either. So it's a very kind of like sluggish kind of race. And it's like, I want NASCAR to do well. It's America's sport,
Right.
you know? And then I watch it and I'm like, I'm bored.
No, it's just like there's not a lot going on. I liked when that one guy, I don't know his name, I can't remember, but
Dale
it was
Earnhardt?
big news. No, that was big news also. But when he just mashed the throttle and went around the corner, that was sick. I was like, that's cool.
That's a video game move
And
right there.
Okay, let's like, if we're gonna start crashing, like hitting people to spin them out. I think that could make NASCAR more
See,
engaging.
that's the thing. The reason people, I said it when I was a kid even. I was like, the only reason I even watched NASCAR was for the crashes, because otherwise it just seemed so stale all the time. Like there was no action. Like I think the thing with F1, especially like in the midfield,
I get
is
bored watching that.
But no, the thing is like the corners are where there's battles.
Yeah.
Like there's and the essentially F1 has built this way for like racers to battle each other. You've got DRS, you've got these corners, you've got battery charging, you've got kind of this like arsenal of tools that these drivers can use, and they're trying to use it on these corners and these straights. So at least you got like 2-3 battles happening all the time. Whereas when you're watching NASCAR, it kind of just seems like there they go.
Yep. And then it's like until
We'll check back in a couple hours.
well, yeah, and it's like, dude, why the fuck are they doing 200 laps?
Well, and then it's not
Come on.
But then they're not just doing endurance racing anymore. Now they have them like broken into stints and stuff now, where it's
so
like 80 laps or 60 laps, and it's like there's not even enough time to get into the endurance
Hear me
element
out.
of it.
2 laps. Fucking make that shit intense. Let them hit. Do whatever. 2 laps. That's where I think the energy. We need that TikTok brain rot mind.
Oh my God.
That's what's got to go on. It's got to be more engaged. They should have the NASCAR race and Temple Runner underneath it. Everyone would fucking watch it.
I was feeling like when you go to like a casino and they got Buffalo, right? They got the one game on the one screen, and then you see those like 85-year-old half dead people that are playing the ones that got like 6 games because they're just so past it.
Yeah, they do.
They're not even letting the free games play. It's like that's what we need for NASCAR.
Is like betting on NASCAR. Is that like
That's
the
a
fun
thing.
part of it?
There's
Maybe
betting.
that makes it a little more interesting.
Anytime you're betting on anything, it makes it more fun.
Unless you lose, then it's not fun.
Then it's not fun at all. No,
Yeah.
no.
I don't know. I just don't get and I think I've never been to one in person. Obviously, I think that would change it. Like, I don't like watching hockey on TV too much, but going to an actual hockey match is the funnest shit in the world.
Like
I
baseball.
absolutely love it. Yeah. So I wondered, like, because they're going like 200 miles an hour plus. And like, I've seen the clips of like, they go by and like the little kid like gets blown off his feet because it's so much, so I think that could be a lot. Well, but at the same time, okay, 150th time of that happening. I don't know if it's that interesting anymore. I don't know what NASCAR needs.
It needs marketing, to be honest. It needs
No,
some
I don't
help.
think that's not gonna make me watch it.
Well, yeah, but I think at the same time it'll encourage some more progressive like thoughts. Like when we went to
Live chat
last
from the
year
drivers.
when we went to St. Louis, I remember looking at that track, because it's a NASCAR track, and I was like, this is insane how big this track is. And then the Las Vegas Speedway too. When I was there and I was looking around this huge oval, the scope of it is so grandiose that you don't really see it when you're just like looking at NASCAR. But man, I could imagine like being there, packed full, Daytona. There's got to be some good vibes
Dude,
there.
The banking on Daytona is so insane too. The pavement is fucking nuts. Like if you were to stand on it, you'd be falling over. So like that's a cool aspect too. But you don't get that really on TV.
No,
you don't really
you just get the circle.
comprehend that. Yeah. So I don't know. I think they need like live chat of the drivers. I want them talking shit the whole time.
I do think
I can smell you.
I think NASCAR does have it's got like an old American energy to it, and it's not transferring.
Yeah, I think like the history of it is so cool, right? Like you look back at like the older stuff, and it's like, man, that was really cool. It's like cool to like learn like what the teams were doing, what the cars were, like how like it came to be. Like I think that element is really neat. I just don't see a lot of that in
The teams
today.
also didn't really fuck around back in the day either. Like the Dale Earnhardts of the world and those guys, they were iconic for not just being like good drivers. They were also very opinionated, and they had this like brashness to them that made a lot of people enjoy the sport because they enjoyed the personality. Now it seems like there's none of that. And if there is, you don't really
You're right. I
don't
can't
get
even
it.
like name 3 NASCAR drivers
right now. Yeah.
right now. But before, like when I was a kid and growing up, like you had like Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt Jr. That's about it.
So 2 people. Just
Aaron
close.
Rodgers dated Danica Patrick. She was in NASCAR, wasn't she?
Yeah.
There's another one.
Tony Stewart,
Tony Stewart.
He killed
Rusty
people.
Wallace.
Don't know him.
It is the reason I say it's a little bit old America is because it is a little tricky navigating that audience that is still there because it is also old and not very movable.
I'd love to get into it because, like, obviously I enjoy cars. It's just, not, I think rally needs marketing because that is actually fun to watch. But like trying to find it on like a US channel or live or when it's
never
happening
hear
or
about
what's
it,
going on, nowhere. And that is so fucking fun. Even on TV, like for a while I was watching Rallycross because they had that document. And that was fun because those were short stint races and they were intense. You go from pavement to dirt to jumps and you have like a Civic SI jumping next to a Focus RS and they're like hitting each other in midair. Like that's cool. That was fun to watch. But again, it's like fizzled out. I can't find it anywhere. I don't know how to watch it. It's just like that. I think would be way better than NASCAR. That is so cool to watch. Rally is the craziest fuckers on the planet.
The only rally I ever see is quite literally just the clips, like highlight clips on TikTok. That's all I see. And
You
then,
never see the actual
but
race.
you do see the clips, and you see how popular it still is, especially in Europe, where it's like they're packing the side of these roads with thousands, tens of thousands of people. And I'm like, I really freaking wish I knew when this was happening. Because
Yeah,
if
I would
I'm
love
willing
to
to
go
wake
see
up,
that.
if I'm willing to wake up and watch an F1 race, I'd be willing to wake up and watch that. Because that's sick. I don't know how to explain it. Yeah, NASCAR, not really sure. IndyCar though is the same thing. like IMSA and those guys and like they have like no media coverage.
Right.
And when you do see it, it's like happenstance. Like you're at B-dubs and you look up at one of the 72 TVs and you're like,
Look at that.
oh, I didn't know IMSA was racing.
Yep.
You know, so man, maybe we sound, I'm sure to people that are listening, they're like, these dicks. I watch every single, there are hundreds of thousands of people that watch it. I'm going to say yes. However, it hasn't hit that like level of where it's not watched by a casual enthusiast as well. You can be a diehard in anything and watch everything, but like when does it meet the casual enthusiast, I think is important. What else do we got to talk about? GTT?
Oh, you had some issues with the Gloria. What did you guys fix on that?
Oh my God.
I came in
All
and
of Alex's
piss
cars
and fluid
broke
everywhere.
in like the same week.
My wife is calling it Julaugust because July was terrible and August was not pending in the
Off to a
right
great
direction. Yeah, not going in the right direction either. The Gloria's power steering pump went out. It's got like these bearings that feed to the fan shroud or to the fan itself. The pulley, and then ultimately it just kind of
Yeah,
fell
so
apart.
Which is fair.
yeah, so it's like the bearing, and then there's a seal. The bearing went out, which is why you heard it go clack, 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 clack. And when it was like, I don't know, oh, that's weird. That's probably fine. And then it finally wore out the seal in that main part of the power steering pump, and it went out. Funny enough, finding a 1996 Nissan Gloria power steering pump in the United States, a little difficult.
You start to
little
learn.
difficult.
You start to learn.
But what we did learn is that a 1996 Nissan Pathfinder will work perfectly fine if you just drill out the threads in one of the mounting holes, and it fits right up.
So I actually have a truck now.
Yep. What was really weird is that because like it has the VQ30 DET, the Gloria, the 2000 Infiniti i30 has a VQ or VQ30 DE, just the non-turbo version. They had a power steering pump for that. Looked pretty similar. I'm like, that's it.
Right.
Same engine essentially, missing the turbo. It was available in the United States. Guarantee it has the same around that same time frame. Guarantee it has the same power steering pump. Does not.
Weird.
Completely different.
That's like the scary part of getting a imported car is having to deal with that mess. Even when we had to go get a battery for the Gloria, it was a fucking issue.
Yeah, it's weird because when we talk to Driver Motorsport about it, I have a huge Driver Motorsports.
Thank
There's an
you.
S.
Thank
Sorry,
you.
I could feel it. I could feel Chris Driver in like the back of my skull.
I'm wearing the hat even, aren't I?
Yeah.
And you
Just
all
look
right.
that
I'm
way.
sorry. So when I bought it, I talked to Ed and I said, I need to know everything about this car. And then I have like a log that I keep in every one of my cars. So then that way I can just reference it very easily in case we need to replace it. And he's like, dude, Infiniti i45, Infiniti i30 here, Nissan 350Z stuff here, 370 stuff here. And so when we bought that part for the i30, I was like, easy, done. This shit's no brainer. And then Dustin looked at me and goes, it doesn't fit. What do you mean? He's
I
like,
was feeling really confident walking out of there with that. I was like, this is it. We
Yeah.
found it. We are big brain motherfuckers. And
Yes.
then it didn't work.
Pro tip, if you're buying a JDM car, a lot of times the popular platforms are going to have easy crossovers, but the rarer you get or the weirder you get with what you're doing, that part availability gets exponentially more
I
difficult.
think that's something to really think about. And like a little slept on fact is like, I don't think people think when they're picking up an imported car, how rough it can be in certain instances to get parts for it.
Especially like I've seen a lot of people start to pick up those vans.
Yeah.
Like those minivans that are from Japan and stuff, and everybody's falling in love with them because they're like $6,000.
I'm one of them.
They're really
$5,000.
I'm one of them. I want one.
They're very, very affordable. The problem is a lot of those parts were only made for the van. There was not a cross-compatible component to it because it's a different chassis. It's not a K truck. It's not a car. So this whole 4-year stint of when every single manufacturer in the 90s made vans, it's like everybody wants one now, except when they break, you're probably going to have to fabricate your own parts.
Some cars are better than others.
Yeah, some are decent.
Mitsubishi Minicab #1. That's a K truck, though. Sorry.
So that's all fixed now, though?
It's all good.
They were good.
Yeah, so
we also had to replace a wheel stud.
yeah, wheel stud went bad. That was my fault. So I have these Volk lug nuts for the Volk GTCs. Took the Volks off, and I put other wheels on to drift. The problem is those lug nuts only work
Different, yeah.
and seat correctly with the Volks.
Oops.
So essentially, I had this like pinched part.
Scary.
Yeah, it was not too good. Anyway,
You're drifting on that too.
multiple times, not just once.
Yeah.
2 years straight.
Imagine you go around a corner, all four wheels just fucking blow off the car.
Well, I will say
It was close.
on day 2 of Drift Mansion, I actually noticed the wheel that had the sheared stud
Oh yeah.
having this like shake to it.
What?
So I pulled it off and I just tightened it back up and I went back out.
This
God,
dude.
that's
This dude.
terrifying. Don't hurt the Gloria. Even though I had the steering pump issue, that
But honestly, like finding the part was the hardest part because we got it installed in pretty much no time.
Yeah, the rest of the car was pretty. It's pretty
and
good.
that's not bad for an old ass car that gets beat on for its life. That's what it is now. It's just
That's the perks of having a low horsepower car that you're beating the crap out of, because you're not stressing the motor. You're stressing the shitty tires that you put on it to slide it sideways. Like you're stressing the differential. You're stressing
Right.
the
You're skinny
transmission.
axle shafts.
You're not stressing like your engine blowing up, which I think is the difference when people start getting into high horsepower applications and you see these drift cars that will sit for months instead of days, is because they put 600 horsepower out of their LS and then they throw a rod, or they throw this, or they break that. And the damage is so much more substantial at that point versus, let's say you break a half shaft or something like that, or power steering goes out. It's much more tolerable at the lower horsepower, in my opinion, my humble opinion.
I agree.
Have you decided what you're doing with the S2000 yet? I know we talked about it on the last podcast where you're like, I'll get a new engine for it or I'll sell it. I don't know. Or have you thought any more about it?
No, because I really want to ask the audience what they think I should do, because the choices are quite literally the same. I just don't know which one to go with. Like, a part of me wants to keep it, right? Trust the process, throw it back in there, get something going again. It's just the car's so uncompetitive. I didn't realize how uncompetitive until the weekend, because I knew there was going to be faster
For the
cars
class
than me.
that it would be.
Yeah, I knew it was going to be faster. That part didn't surprise me. What surprised me was the sheer gap.
Right.
I was expecting to be going up against 500 horsepower cars, not 670 wheel, which is insane. I mean, those cars are fucking flying.
Fast.
And there's just no comparison. So it's either we put a 900 horsepower built K24 in it and just kind of tidy it all up,
Jesus.
Yeah, what?
or
You want to run that by me again?
we put a K20 back in it,
What-
we sell
before
it,
that?
and we buy something else.
Why a K20? Why not just put a stock S2000 engine in it?
Because we're just so far into it.
Did you say 900 horsepower?
I found one.
Jesus Christ.
What are you going to do with that then?
So
Baseline it at 400.
spoken like a Subaru. Yeah, it's built for 900. I run a 350.
I'm
I'm
scared.
gonna have a safe tune on it. Yeah.
I don't know yet, guys. It's a tough one. I want to get some of the other stuff kind of taken care of before we really crack back into the Honda, because it was a little depressing. And
Well, dude, yeah, that's a fucking
There's so many hours spent on the
yeah.
car.
To go through that shouldn't be understated. That sucked. That it did
still sucks.
sucked.
yeah, we got April, started on fire, put it back together, blew up in July.
Oof.
Not to mention you started working on this thing really hard
In December.
In December,
Yeah,
yeah.
piece of poop sometimes. I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
I have faith that you'll
fucking
figure it
rough.
out.
As much as I hate to say it, it's very cool that we've made it ours, but you definitely start to understand why folks, they buy a GRD6 and they just do
They buy a Honda Fit.
this, that, and the other, and that's all they do. And they're like, that's it. Or Supra. I mean, iconic.
Mark.
Here's an intake tune exhaust, 85
Bigger
It's-
turbo.
Yeah, like the ultimate thing.
turbo. Have 600
The
horsepower.
ultimate thing over everything else that you can do to the car is seat time.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can't get seat time, then what's all of the rest of it for?
Exactly.
So it's like, I totally get why, you see those, dude, there's seas of Honda Fits out there that
They're
are just
everywhere.
wheels and suspension. And that's it. And it's like, is that fun? Like, why are they doing it? They're doing it because they can fucking race every weekend, no problem.
Yeah.
Oh, the engine went out? Cool. I have one here tomorrow and I'll put it in myself. Like, it's not even bad, Like, it's simple.
I do think it's important to note for people that are hearing about the S2000 and our difficulty around it, when it came to us, it was already kind of battered and,
Yeah,
well, it was
and
clapped.
apart. It was, yeah.
That's the name of it.
People forget that this car,
Hasn't lived it down.
yeah, it literally barely ran when I bought it. I mean, literally, it
Yeah.
barely ran when I bought it.
Stoplights, you're killing it.
And the the motor that was in it was terrible, and there was plugs in places, and there was leaks, and coolant was going into oil, and oil was going into. It was just this was my attempt to save a in progress car, somebody else's project, and it's just reminding me that the answer is unfortunately
Don't do that.
really no. Don't do that, because you're uncovering every time you go into the engine bay, you're uncovering something new, and so it's not worth it.
Damn,
not worth it.
Yeah, I
heard it here first.
But it's sick when it runs. So
yeah,
it was really fun when it was running great.
yeah, we'll get her back.
Even when I drove it, it wasn't.
Yeah, when we had it
where
at
it
Riverside, it was a blast, dude.
Yeah. But even then, it still had like its issues and stuff. Like it didn't have like the new ECU or anything. Like it was still like
it just never ends. Yeah. It just never ends.
Yeah, and we don't have like a full-time mechanic here or anything like that working on our stuff. Like when I watched Adam LZ rebuild his entire E36 in a week with a whole team, that part made me super jealous, because I'm like, holy shit, this guy did it. Like that's setting a new bar for folks like us that are sometimes working on cars with a camera, and like the pros that have 40 people that are putting this car back together.
And it's not just like random people, it's like the best of the best.
It's insane.
Yeah. They're like
absolutely
they're
insane.
like, no, we'll drop everything that we're doing and we're gonna come help you.
Get this car.
And we are the best.
Yeah.
And that's why you can do shit like that. But yeah, dude, it's crazy to see. I was watching that, dude. It's nuts. It's insane what they were able to do.
Yeah, and it takes us 3 months to redo an ECU and a Honda. Anyway, with that being said, we're going to take a small break but not before talking about our next partner for the MartiniWorks podcast. Who wants to do it?
Fortune Auto, my favorite coilovers ever. Even if they say tomorrow, hey, we're done sponsoring the podcast, which please don't. But if they did, I would still get Fortune Autos because I love them that much.
Thank you.
If you need to get customized coilovers, they got you. If you just want ones right off the shelf, you're like, yo, I need to lower my car and I want it to feel good, they got that too. So no matter what you need to do with your car, they're going to have a setup for you. If it's just a daily driver, you're golden. If you're going to the track, what track? They'll set it up and do everything you need. Exactly. The guys over there are so knowledgeable. It's insane. And if you need help getting those coilovers ready for your car, we can do that at MartiniWorks.com. We can reach out to them, get them all set up for you. Or again, if you're just like, I need 500s or I need 510s, dude, we'll get them to you right away. And they're rebuildable over time, which is neat too. You can send them back into Fortune Auto to have them completely gone through. They will disassemble them, get them on that like strut dyno, and get them all back to tip-top shape, which is a neat feature. You can also get Swift springs with them. Again, I can just go on and on about what you can do with these coilovers, but out of the box, 500s have been amazing. I've rode on them for years and years. I haven't even had to rebuild mine. They ride absolutely phenomenal. So make sure you check out Fortune Auto coilovers at MartiniWorks.com. What's breaking news, brother?
Yeah. Through your phone, and you're like,
right as we get into breaking news.
That's crazy.
I got so much shit to say about
In an
breaking
election year
news.
is
I thought
crazy.
you had it off the dome or something, maybe.
Well, I mean, there's been no changes to the GR Corolla situation outside
That
of it.
sucks.
Everyone's upset, and
As they
Toyota's
should be.
doing nothing about it.
That's
It's August, which is the month of SUVs, so everybody's dropping their SUVs.
what does that mean?
The new 2025 Audi SQ8 doesn't pretend to be a good SUV. It just is.
Whatever. Next.
Boring.
All right. Well, this is your 2025 Volkswagen Tiguan. Do you want to learn about that?
No,
No.
Okay.
just another SUV.
I got a good one for you.
All right.
I already have a feeling I know this conversation is going to go with you two specifically.
Okay.
But let's say you've got a grandparent. You're responsible for informing them that they are no longer allowed to drive.
Oh,
Ooh.
How do you go about it?
Ooh. That's a deep question, my
I'd
guy.
be
My
like-
God.
Hey, Grandpa, can I see your keys? And he'd be like, yeah, here. And then I'd run, and I'd never see Grandpa again.
See, that's exactly how I knew he was going to answer it.
I don't know. I would make my my parents do it because that's their parent. That's their responsibility.
I think I'm going to be real and maybe check back when I'm 70 if I make it that far. I do believe we need a system in place for a secondary driving test once you hit a certain age. I get so embarrassingly angry at people on the road. Dude, if you are making a right-hand turn and you come to a complete stop to make that right-hand turn, I will get out of the car and beat the fuck out of you. I get so mad. I cannot stand that. If you're on a normal road, people are going 35 and you come to a complete stop with no stop sign, no lights, and you're just like, I'm going to fucking get out and slash your tires. Dude, I get so mad.
It's insane. Like going through the commercial drone stuff, you have to get that re-up like every 2 years, like going for a refresher, get up to date with everything. I'm like, to fly a fucking drone?
They fly themselves.
Yeah, I'm like, it's easier than fucking driving a car.
Yeah, that you can like very easily kill someone with.
Years.
But your license one time when you're 16 years old and you're a fucking idiot, good forever.
To be fair, that does make a lot of sense.
What does?
Why?
What you're saying, needing to retake your life.
I thought. Okay,
but there are things that I think you have to do, like in addition. Like I do think it's weird that you can just do certain things for the rest of your life without checking back in. Like you can the only time that you can't is if you own a firearm, you have to get that checked in every couple of years, right, to redo your license. But yeah, no, I don't want an 85-year-old driving a 900 horsepower Dodge.
Yeah. And it's tough because
I got the money. I took it out of my retirement.
Or a Tesla with an insane amount of torque.
I don't want
my bladder.
more control from the government. I don't. I get that, but like, it's just not safe.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I'm the person that would like the government's dirty little dick beaters to stay out of everything that I do.
Right.
But yeah, I do think there's a safety hazard at some point. When you listen to what they say in public and then they get in their 94 Camry and go 79 miles an hour. Yeah. I think that's a little weird. I have a new one for you. Okay. A little bit of breaking news. This is a weird one. I regret buying my FL5 Type R. Ooh. Apparently, this is a guy that was 10,000 miles into his slime green 2023 Audi RS3. Having a good time, really enjoying it. That's
a good car.
Decided to jump over into the Type R.
Okay.
But he's talking about just everything about the car just doesn't seem to be enough of anything. It's too serious for him. It handles so well. The transmission is so precise, but there's no drama. The engine and exhaust sound like nothing. There's little wheel hop or torque steer. You can't hear the engine, but we can hear his road noise. The car is subjectively the most tire roar of any car he's ever owned.
Well, that's just
the suspension is stiff and the ground clearance is low. I don't like driving the car around town.
Yeah, this guy sucks.
I believe now the amount front wheel drive sucks is directly related to the price of the car. 20 to 30K, it's all good, but for $45,000, it's a bummer more than it should be.
I'll take.
Brother, you're going from a RS3 to an FL5 Type R. You're going from an Audi, like a high-end but like a performance Audi to a performance Honda.
Yeah.
There's gonna be differences.
Right. And well, the things he's complaining about, he just should shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I was kind of on his side at first. I'm like, oh, well, yeah, I would have, like, he's like, oh, I liked it.
Yeah.
Wanted to get into it. Ah, shit, maybe I should have said with the RS3 because it just has more to it. And he's like, the ground clearance ain't good enough.
Yeah.
I guarantee the ground clearance on a stock FL5 Type R is perfectly fine.
Can't hear the road noise just too. Get an exhaust and switch your tires. I don't know. What the fuck are you complaining about?
There's some people did say that it sounds like he needs a Mazda Miata.
Yeah, he needs something that.
They're like, it sounds like you're really explaining that you would rather own a Mazda Miata.
That's a weird take.
That was a super weird take.
That's why. Hey guys, I'm just.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
it's all your fault.
I'm kind of pissed at you about it, but.
Oh, here's a good one. The original Scion FRS/BRZ is the millennial generation's Datsun 240Z.
I've been saying that for fucking years. Actually, I said the S13.
When the 240Z came out, is that what like the 18 to 25-year-olds were getting? Was 240Zs?
Well, they couldn't really. Well, yeah, they were. So
I don't know.
The Datsun 240Z, when it was marketed in the United States, I believe his name was Katayama Yoshiro? Anyway, he specifically had it marketed to the one car you'd own once you're done with college. This was the car you bought. And so, yeah, I would say like 22-year-old, 24-year-old, because the Datsun 240Z had 10.1 cubic feet of storage space on the inside, which at the time was insane for a
Hatchback,
two-door
baby.
car to have. Yeah, because of the rear design. I don't think the FRS is that to the Z.
Like I said, that's what I compare it more to like the S13, right? It's like it's the budget friendly rear wheel drive manual car, not a ton of power, can do whatever you want.
That's fair. But I just feel like the Z was so
The Z was
unique in what it was.
Yeah,
it was
100%.
It was a $3,500 at the time, sport car. People were trading in their Porsche 911s
That's
for
crazy.
Datsun 240.
Damn.
Well, and that was a time at the time too. It's like from Japan that the cars really first started to come over because you had like the Civic sort of, and then like the Z was like, oh, but here's a rear wheel drive sports car.
That's reliable.
That's reliable.
That's better than the British versions.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of, is there a car in the last 5 or 10 years? And if you guys are listening, you can drop it in whatever comment section or just in a DM to us on Instagram. What is the most maybe innovative, we'll say affordable, like car of the last 10, 15 years?
10, 15
Innovative.
years.
Yeah, like
Probably
introduced a new
electric.
recipe.
Okay.
Probably an electric car.
I mean,
Well, I mean, to be the
with
most
like
innovative.
Yeah,
and,
if we're talking that, yeah, like the hybrid systems and that kind of stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, like a Model 3.
and they're fast. Mm-hmm. So it's like I'm just giving credit where credit is due on
Yeah.
paper there. I mean,
Yeah.
that's something I would own myself. If I was given one, I would drive it, but I would not go out and buy it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
I like
mean-
engines
We're saying
and exhaust,
words?
The thing is, right? is
road
that
noise.
I kind of look at it like fucking. I know this is really off topic. Like Disney did their like whole like reveal of like the lineup of movies for this year, right? And it's like
Yeah.
Toy Story 5, Incredibles 3, Frozen 3, and it's like, for Christ's sake, fucking do something new. Like this is just sequels and prequels and
Yeah.
prequels that are sequels, and,
And
it's like
here's a
and I
movie
feel
that was
like-
the bad guy that's not the bad guy anymore.
And I feel like it's been kind of the same with cars. It's like, we get the new Corvette, but it's still a Corvette. We get the new GR86, but it's still an FRS. We get the new, it's like, it's kind of like that where it's like we just keep getting the same thing. It's refreshed and it's nice and I get it and it's new.
But yeah,
But like,
nothing like
yeah, where's the new car? I'd say like the GR Corolla, kind of there, but not
But even that,
really.
that's a
But even
Corolla.
then, yeah, so it's like I want
a
something new.
performance.
I want a new model name.
Give it a new name.
Yeah.
I think everybody's afraid to take a risk on like
I
a
think
new
they-
I mean,
name.
100%. I mean, it's a weird time right now. I get it.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll get it anytime soon, but I mean, like, shit, a few years ago before COVID, where the hell were they then?
I'd be willing to go out on a limb and say if they introduced the C8 as not the Corvette and a different line with like a little bit of like an increased maybe like interior quality sort of thing, I bet you that could pass it as its own line.
Yeah.
As its own separate model, not the Corvette. In between the Corvette or above the Corvette, above and below the Blackwing. Because it's tough. Yeah, there's no new, outside of like the Model 3 or Tesla and the EV stuff, it's like an innovative car that's really kind of changed the way a lot of car companies develop their car. I don't know if there's been one. Not even from like a design element. Like in the early 2000s, even in the early 90s, right? BMW came out with the halo lights.
Yeah.
And that was iconic.
And Audi.
And everyone was like, holy shit, our headlights need to have eyeballs. And then Audi was like, I'm going to give you DRL. I'm going to give you these little swooping LEDs. And that changed every car manufacturer. Every car manufacturer came out with daytime running lights that weren't fog lights and completely changed how people designed the front end of their cars. And then nothing happened until fucking Fiat made that stupid, ugly Jeep Cherokee with the tiny little pencil headlights. And for some reason,
that
every
was a
automotive manufacturer was like,
That's it.
that is the
That's good.
future. And for the last 12 years, they're still making cars with the tiniest fucking headlights that, in my opinion, look so stupid, especially on SUVs. They're like, here is a 7,000-pound SUV with 8-inch headlights.
With drawn on headlights.
It's like the people that fucking they don't have eyebrows, so they stencil it on and they make it look super angry. It's like, put those away.
Damn.
Put the Crayolas down.
Wow.
And that's how I feel about it. Damn it.
No, I get it. And that's why, when you ask, it's like, I can't think of an auto manufacturer that's going too crazy with it. I mean, the KDM stuff. I mean, the Kia Stinger, the Genesis.
The Kia Stinger was a cool touch.
Those are, but they're not innovative. They're not. But it is a new model that was released.
Yes.
That's a performance. So, you know, you got Genesis, Veloster. Those are new models. That's kind of exciting. But even those now are getting a little.
Yeah, and it's like I'm trying to keep it away from like the supercar stuff because obviously those don't really apply.
Well, even they're doing it. Fucking what? Lamborghini released the
Countach.
Yeah, Countach again, and it's like
They are coming out with a V10. V10? No, a V8 that revs to like 10K RPM.
Didn't Chevy do that?
Yeah.
With a flat plane, yeah, I suppose. I don't know, man.
Boring. No, I'm just that is insane. That like, what is it? The Z. I forget the trim of the Corvette, but that motor that's in it, it's like the highest horsepower, naturally aspirated, highest revving. Like that engine is just freaking nuts.
Yeah.
That is so cool. And like, I think you can get it with like carbon fiber wheels and a carbon fiber aero package, and it's probably $3 million jillion.
It's just crazy to me that like Ford came out with the GTD, and it took Chevy approximately like
2 days.
10 months for everyone to forget that the GTD even came out.
Yeah.
I don't even,
That's like it's like the crazy Mustang that's also
Like,
stupid.
here's our GT3 car, and Chevy's like, hold my beer.
When the Dark Horse was announced, that was a big deal. I haven't heard anything about it now. Is the Dark Horse out now?
I think so, yeah.
Like, can you get it? I haven't heard anything about it.
You know what car?
I want to rev it from the remote.
I think when they finally find a way to make a lightweight
Easy.
Yeah.
a lightweight electric motor affordably, and they put that into a rear-wheel drive car with front-wheel drive assist.
like
I think that'll be an
double A's?
innovative spark. I think that'll be an innovative car.
Yeah.
You know?
Maybe.
I think the RS3 is rad.
I think
That disappeared. I don't know who's buying them or who owns them or if Audi even makes them. But
they're all selling them for
RS5s.
FL5s.
What about RS5?
RS5.
RS5 was cool, but
It's cool. I think that's a slept-on car.
I think a lot of Audis are slept on.
True.
I don't understand why. I don't know if they're just priced in just such a weird
They're not
way.
on like lots. Like you don't see them for sale ever. I don't know if it's limited quantity on that RS line between that like 3, 5, but like dude, it is crazy what kind of Audis you can get for a fairly decent. It's expensive, but like when you're comparing it to like the Supra and Nissan Z, like Audi makes some really good shit that nobody really goes out and gets.
I remember it was like a couple years ago, I think, that the S4s started to get in like the B8s and the B8.5s like started to get in the limelight quite a bit. Because I remember seeing those popping up everywhere. Like all of a sudden, everyone had like a B8 S4, and I was like, "What the fuck?"
I just think the enthusiast like community is so tuner driven right now, so JDM driven right now.
I was gonna say JDM.
It's just that leaves no space.
It's like JDM or BMW M line.
Yeah.
Like that's all I see.
Yeah, it's like, and then which weirdly enough, it's like when people get to the point where they have $70,000, they're not going and getting a GTR anymore. They're going and they're getting, weirdly enough, a 360 Modena. They're getting Ferraris. I don't know if you guys have seen this lately, but the amount of people that are picking up 360s lately as like their top tier kind of like sports performance car is insane. Like Vin bought one, Mike just bought one, who he works with LZ, and then I know a couple other buddies that they're like, hey, I'm buying a 360, or I'm selling my R33 and I'm getting a 360. What do you think? There's so many people buying these, and then they're doing the manual transmission swaps on them. And
I suppose if they're falling into that price bracket, and it's like, dude, I could either have an R33 GTR or a fucking Ferrari. It's like,
that's what I'm saying. Is like it's the whole pricing bracket of cars right now is so wild.
especially if it's like you've had it for a while and it's like, I want to do something different. I want to try something different. That is a very drastic change that I feel like would be fun.
Yeah, I mean, what else? Yeah. Anyway, that's my thoughts on it.
What transmissions are they swapping in those? Like, what? Because the F430 isn't that a common thing too to swap a manual?
Yeah, so the 430 is specific because these cars, well, the 362, when they introduced this F1 gear, they essentially built an entire manual transmission except without the actual clutch pedal. So everything is actuated through an ECU, all that sort of good stuff that you can control flappy paddles. So to actually take that out and just to put a stick in the middle is not terribly difficult.
Gotcha,
Because it
okay.
utilizes almost
Interesting.
identical
They use pretty much the same thing.
components of a manual version. So a couple of these companies are now out there. They're selling these full kits.
Gotcha.
And
So
you
So they're
can
not
just-
necessarily swapping the transmissions. They're like modifying the.
They're modifying it with the linkages to make it
That
manual.
makes sense. Because I was like, why is this such like a common thing in like to do? Like, but that makes sense. That makes sense.
Which is why we have a part from a Swiss company called, I think it's called Scooting. I don't know if I'm saying it right.
You're not.
But they have it. They have it where you can plug in this new tool, and instead of just waiting for your clutch to go out or waiting for these things to kind of like go, the Ferrari ECU actually monitors the percentages of life on all of its like wear and tear components. It just doesn't tell you. This allows me to see how much is left on it, because then it'll decide if we just start saving up for a manual swap or not.
Interesting. Cool.
So there you go. Fun fact.
That's fun.
Scooting.
Scooting. SKUD space ING.
Yeah, I can't call it, but I'm sure it's not how we're saying it.
Scudang.
It's something like that, probably.
Yeah.
Scud?
Because of the
Inga.
dash, it completely changes how it sounds. Actually.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. That's all we have to talk about today. Let us know what you think on the GR Corolla fire situation if you're over on YouTube. Of course, if you think there's a car that looks expensive but isn't, you can give us your hot takes on
Yeah, I'd
that
like
one.
to
That was
hear
a weird
those.
one.
It was weird, but I'd like to hear your comments.
Yeah. Dakota, anything else you'd like to add?
Don't. Let me think of a tip to give you on the way out here.
So he's looking at all of our cars. He's like, which one am I going to shit on?
No, I was just thinking of what. Don't fart with the windows up.
Okay.
That's it.
What more do you need?
It's not a bad tip.
I was going to say, if you live south with black leather interior, just get your windows tinted before you even take the car home.
Yeah.
Immediately. Gels?
Don't undaily your daily.
That's a good tip too, but
I
very
hate-
hard to do.
I hate that tip. That tip sucks.
Very
All
hard
right.
to do.
If you guys are looking for car parts, mod your car at MartiniWorks.com. We love you. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.